Yo. Xander was good. Who else up in here? Shy Killings was good. Good morning. Good morning, folkers. Good afternoon. Good evening, wherever you're at in the world. Terrence Bain. Welcome to the definition of anarchy. This morning, I wanted to get up and go to the stairs and do my rucking live, but I felt like my body wasn't fully recovered. I feel like I've been overtraining for the last couple weeks, so I decided to stay at home instead and do some yoga and a little heavy bag training. You know what I'm saying? I always got to do that. I got to stay sharp with that. But I decided to do a little bit of heavy bag work and some restorative yoga just to get my body right. Sometimes it's not good to overtrain all the time. So yeah, much love to Cali, huh? Yeah, that's a common sentiment. But I want to talk about something interesting this morning because there aren't a lot of people out there making big moves. And so when someone does, certain individuals come out and try to kind of swipe them up for their cause. You know what I mean? Kind of assign them to what cause they believe they should belong to. And to me, this is what happened with the officer, Brandon Tatum. He did a video about a young man named King Randall, okay? And how King Randall was on a show with Roland Martin and basically said that he, in a debate sort of blew Roland Martin out of the water. But if you watch the full video, you'll see that it wasn't really like that. Roland Martin has a tendency to be very assertive with his speech and very aggressive. So if you're not prepared for that type of aggression, it may seem like he's got you in some points. And so I'm going to go over two videos. I'm going to go over the video Officer Tatum did with Randall, and I'm pretty much not going to say anything. I'm going to let it play all the way through. And then I'm going to play the one with Roland Martin, and that's where I'm going to insert some commentary. I might not even be able to do it in one trip. So on the way to where I'm going, and some of it on the way back, just so that I have can put much attention to it and take my time. But needless to say, at the end of the day, I would love to reach out to this young man and kind of see where his mind is at, because I feel like this dude right here has got a good head on his shoulders. He's headed in the right direction. He's doing some of the right things. So without further ado, I'm going to start this Brandon Tatum video where you're just going to hear the commentary. You're not going to see any video. You know what I'm saying? So let's get into this part.
Roland Martin, how you let this young boy play you like that? This video is brought to you by the Officer Tatum store. The merch link in the description section. Offers came out. Make men again. Put in discount code men to get 20% off. This shirt gonna be gone. I'm telling y'all, this shirt gonna be gone. You better get on there and get you one. Anyway, let's get into this. Roland Martin. Let me check on my baby. The baby monitor's good. Baby still asleep. Roland Martin. You know who Roland Martin is? You probably don't, because he's irrelevant in my personal opinion. However, somehow black folks think he makes sense and think he's a leader in the black community. Let me show you what this joker looking. This is your boy Roland Martin right here. Just look at his face. You can tell he's one of these old black liberals that are miserable because he wants the white man to be the problem so bad that he got to put on African garb to make himself look holier than thou in the black community, and that he's really just so deep and he knows what's best for the black community. He is worse for the black community than I believe white supremacists are. In the modern day society, white supremacists don't even care about black people. Why? Because black people kill themselves and they do damage to their own communities, and white people don't have to do nothing. They're on autopilot at this point. I have never in my life, growing up in an all-black community, I've never in my life seen a white supremacist, ever. I've never seen on the news. I've never seen anywhere where I grew up, none of my homies were killed, assaulted, abused by a white supremacist. Never in my life have I seen it. White supremacists have never showed up in the hood. Never. Even when I go speak at engagements and I go to these communities, 326, 2021, this young man is one of the emerging leaders in the black community. He is 21 years old. I saw the young man that he mentored on his program. I saw the young man. They took pictures with me. He had them all together. He teaching them how to shake hands.
Yeah, I know I'm buffering.
Respectful. Teaching these young men how to be men. Teaching them how to be men. This young man, as young as he is, bought a school. This young man bought a school bus. He decided to take matters into his hands when old, crummy black people like this want the white man to give them a handout, give them crackers every time they need something to eat. This young man is doing it for himself. Roland Martin is still pandering to the Democrats and crying when Joe Biden got elected. They tell you how whack he is. He cried when Joe Biden got elected. Crying in the parking lot that they voted for an anti-black president. Don't get me started. Let me show you how this young man, just demolished this young man. Roland Martin should quit his show and walk off and never make a video again after this one. Without me talking too much, roll the film.
We have to get out and go do for self in our own communities.
So define do for self.
So let me right there. He said we got to do for self in our own community. Define do for self, because do for self cannot be functional in his mind.
When I say do for self, you shared one of my tweets, my videos, and I was actually a big fan of yours, but you shared one of my tweets when I said black people need to stop begging the government and go and do for self out in our communities. You shared the video and called me an idiot. I didn't see anything idiotic about that statement.
No. You called him an idiot. And watch he finna serve you. But a young black man said we need to do for ourselves. The old head said he's an idiot. Why would you say that to another black man if you're supposed to be pro-black with your African garb on? Why would you say that? I know why, because you're on a plantation, you want this brother to get back on the plantation. But listen to what he had to say.
No, so when you say do for self, like what? Mm-hmm. Explain that.
So he think this young man ain't got nothing to say. That's his tactic. Man, listen to this beatdown. Get your popcorn ready. Hope you sitting down and got your seatbelt on.
Okay, for example, here in Albany, Georgia, we complain about our school systems a lot. Many of our young men can't read. They have very horrible literacy rates. We don't have any rehab programs here for juvenile offenders. What I decided to do, I started a program 2 years ago, decided to do for self, and I started taking children into my home. I started taking custody of kids from juvenile court, and I started molding them and training them and teaching them skill trades, etc. Now I'm 21 years old. I just purchased a school here in Albany, Georgia, to combat us being in the government-funded schools that are not teaching our children what they need to learn. So that's what I mean by do for self, simply getting up and going out and do it.
So
I beat the stereotype that I'm young, black in America, and I can't do anything because somebody's holding me down. Absolutely not.
So a question.
Go ahead. Me and some teenagers went and bought a school, and we just bought a school bus simply from going out and doing work. We decided to go fix our own communities. I'm not expecting anything from no politician. I'm not expecting nothing from Donald Trump, Joe Biden, or nobody. We're gonna go do it for ourselves, and that's what I believe.
You ain't expecting nothing from Donald Trump.
But nothing's gonna change in our community.
So you went into.
I almost want to play it again for the people in the back smoking crack. The young man said it, and he couldn't have said it any better. I make sure my baby's still asleep. He's still in there. I got the monitor on. He's still in there asleep. Like just sleeping like a little angel. But he said it. This young man said we need to do for ourselves. How can any reasonable black person say you're wrong? He went out and purchased a school. I've been following him on social media. I've been following this young man on social media. New Emerging King is his handle on Twitter. I'm gonna interview him. I'm gonna have him on my show. I think David Harris had him on his show. I'm gonna have him on my show to talk about his stuff. This young man,
right, by hearing by.
When they did
doing great work.
When they were raising money, I met his kids. I seen him at events. He take them around. He teaching them how to be respectful. They dress, they got their pants around their waist, they're not sagging their pants and being thugs. I seen the boy at work. This is what we need. This is the future. This is the past. These old heads, they don't want black people to do well. No, they don't want you to do for yourself. Because do for yourself mean that they little games, the oppression games, the white man is the devil games, the white supremacy, the white nationalist, white privilege, all that stuff, they have no worth when you do for yourself. Because he didn't mention one white person. He didn't mention nothing about white supremacy and not having an opportunity. How can a 21-year-old black man in Georgia, who's supposed to be racist, build up enough money and get qualified to buy a school? Somebody had to allow him to get that school. Somebody owned the school before he bought it. Whether he took a loan out or bought it cash, whichever way it go, nobody discriminated against him for doing that. Nobody stopped him from doing that. Nobody stopped him from owning the school bus. And nobody's gonna stop me from donating to him. I'm gonna talk to him and figure out what he's doing. I might donate a significant amount of money to him. But they can't stop me from donating to him. He don't need the government grants. I'll grant him money that he don't have to pay me back on. If Roland Martin was a legitimate man, he would grant him money to do in the black community. But they can't handle it. They can't handle people like me and this little young man. They can't his own. They can't handle it.
You're nothing like him.
Because all of this stuff is fake, ladies and gentlemen. It's all fake.
Brandon Tatum is nothing like that, dude.
It's all fake. The white man destroying the black community is all fake. Black people are responsible for their success and failure. Now you talk about Jim Crow days, maybe, but now you have zero excuses. Get out and do for yourself. Get out and do for yourself. He talked about how he was abused as a young kid. He spoke about it. He didn't have some privilege. He had a spoon in his mouth. He came from a humble beginning. And you sorry son of a guns like this want to turn a young man down. I want y'all to look at this video, and I want you to take something from it. I hope this video goes viral, because this dude is a detriment to the black community. And a bunch of black people follow. He got his own show. And all he do is bash legitimate black folks. And he bring on black conservatives that hate Candace Owens and myself, and bring them on and give them a platform to try to destroy us, for us to be arguing with each other. This dude is fake, man. In my personal opinion, he's fake. People say, won't you go debate Roland? I'm not debating. Why would I debate something? This dude ain't serious. He ain't serious. If you questioning a young man that's doing for himself and building something, and you gonna argue with him about that, bro, you ain't worth me debate. What are we debating? You ain't got no subject matter. And I watch some of his videos. He try to make videos talking trash about me. Like, dude, you're a loser. This young man is doing more in the community in 3 years than Roland Martin.
It is great, Tina.
In his whole lifetime. Now, I don't know that to be true. But given the way he talks, he ain't thinking about this. But he'll get you to vote for Joe Biden. He cried. He cried when Joe Biden won. Anti-black president that ain't done for black people in this country.
All right, I'm done with that. So, will y'all see? I'm going to give props where props is due, right? I'm going to give props to Brandon Tatum for highlighting this young man. His name is King Randall, by the way. He didn't mention his name. His name is King Randall. And he's doing great work in Georgia. There's no denying it, in Albany. He's actually only 21 years old, and he bought a school. And now he's teaching young black men how to be successful, independent. Let's focus on that. Independent. Focus on him, helping young black men be independent, self-sufficient, behave as men, you know what I mean? Be polite and all this other stuff. Like, he's doing great work. Teaching them skilled trades, right? That's very important. Skilled trades, that is a lost art, right? And he's teaching, well, I don't know if he's personally teaching them, but he probably has people teaching skilled trades to these young men. And yeah, King Randall, that's his name. And he's doing great work. No denying that. I ain't got no problem with this young man. But I will say this. Him and Brandon Tatum are nothing alike. All right, nothing alike. Brandon Tatum likes to think he's like King Randall, but he's not. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because even though Brandon Tatum wants to send him some money, that's fine. Send him money, whatever. Send donations. That's fine. It's okay to send donations to organizations you have passion about, like that you agree with, right? You don't have to necessarily put in the work yourself, but you can go ahead and send donations, whatever. Send donations to the young man. But I'm going to say why I think he likes King Randall, mostly because King Randall calls himself a black conservative. All right. But see, you can be a conservative and not be a Republican. You can be a conservative and not be political. You can be conservative and also be an anarchist. Now, let me tell you another way Brandon Tatum is nothing like King Randall. You can tell King Randall, he probably grew up in a rough neighborhood. You know, he probably grew up in a rough neighborhood. Things were bad for him. He mentioned he had been abused or whatever the case may be. But see, there are two type of people. Well, there's actually three type of people in the hood. There are, there's two type of people that don't involve themselves in criminal activity and gang activity in the hood. There's two of those type of people. There are those that turn their backs on the community and say, fuck that, I'm gonna leave it behind. I'm gonna let them destroy themselves. Then you have the opposite. Those who turn themselves toward the community and say, okay, how can I improve my community? How can I improve my community? How can I help the young men get out of the gutter in my community? You see, Brandon Tatum is the type to turn his back on the community and go, I'm gonna go with this white neighborhood and I'm gonna tell these white folks I'm not one of them bad Negroes. Whereas King Randall will say, you know what? I'm gonna help these black men in this neighborhood pull themselves up, right? I'm gonna help them make some boots so they can pull themselves up by the bootstraps. You see, those are two different people. Brandon Tatum admires King Randall because King Randall fancies himself as a conservative, and he was in a debate essentially against Roland Martin. And Brandon Tatum doesn't like Roland Martin. These are my opinions, by the way. These are my opinions. But you know how I can tell that Brandon Tatum turned his back on his community is because anybody that is actually for improving the community and helping the community come out of distress wouldn't shit on their own community like Brandon Tatum does. When King Randall talks about his community, he doesn't shit on them. He doesn't call them idiots. He doesn't say black culture is destructive, this, that, and the third. He doesn't do that. What he does is he puts his feet on the ground and does the work and say, you know what? We're better than this. We can improve. But he doesn't put conditions on it like, oh, you have to become you gotta turn you gotta be political, whatever. Brandon Tatum is nothing like King Randall. You know what I'm saying? I remember some guy, I think Gaming with Stan, mentioned that
next right.
Brandon Tatum gave money to the shooting victim family of the young girl that was killed in Chicago, I believe.
0.2 miles.
And okay, that's fine. That's commendable. It's commendable to send money to the families of shooting victims. You know what I'm saying? And that, that's great. I've done it myself. I've donated to plenty of
next right.
GoFundMe's for funeral for people whose children had fallen in gang violence. And it's a commendable thing.
A quarter of a mile,
but
your destination is ahead on the right.
That doesn't mean that you're helping the black community. That just means that you're helping this particular black family with finances in regards to when their child passed.
Your destination is ahead
you can
on the
tell.
right.
If you hear the way Brandon Tatum talks about the black community, he doesn't. He's nothing like King Randall. And I know this because And another way I know this is because when okay, that was 13, I think it was 13 or 11 black families who bought 92 acres of land in Georgia, right? 92 acres of land in Georgia because they said they wanted to build a community where black people could feel safe. He had a problem with that. You see, he had a problem with people, with black folks becoming independent, wanting to do for self, start their own communities, safe for black people. You know why he had a problem with it? Because he thought they were going to be exclusive to white folks. You see what I'm saying? He wants, that's what his thought was. He thinks that because they said they want to create a safe community for black folks, that that meant that white folks weren't allowed. That was his thinking. And then he mentioned in the comments that how, you want to be safe in a black neighborhood? That's impossible. And, you got to get out of that bullshit. That's how I know he's, nothing like King Randall. King Randall's doing different work, okay? King Randall is doing different shit. See, Brandon Tatum is not really for black people being independent. He wants black people to leave the Democrat Party and join the Republican Party. So he wants them to not be dependent on the Democratic Party. He wants them to be dependent on the Republican Party. So there's still a level of dependency there, right? He wants them to become Republicans, conservatives, and all that stuff. That's his goal. And then, of course, stop the hate whitey thing and all that shit. His focus is on getting black people to stop looking at white people as the oppressor. And that's not how you improve your community. That's not how you get people. That's not how you lift people up, by saying, oh, the white man ain't your enemy, and then talking shit about your own community, putting up videos of fights, people fighting in the streets and saying, this is black people own this behavior. We twerking and all this other shit. We're idiots, and constantly calling black folks idiots. Things like that. Constantly talking down on black people. That's what he does. So it's fine that he thinks, King Randall is doing great work. That's great, but they're nothing alike in my mind. Let me see what y'all talking about. I saw how harsh Roland Martin was. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You watch the whole interview. It wasn't no King Randall, blew Roland Martin out of the water. No, you see, and that's why I'm gonna play that video, because I'm going to respond to Roland Martin. Like, King Randall needs a little bit more. I feel like if he had a little bit more guidance in a certain direction, he would have been able to really destroy Roland Martin's whole argument throughout the entire interview. Not just 3 minutes of the interview, but the entire interview. Answer his questions, in a way that Roland Martin would have been discombobulated. Because, you see, Roland Martin is a statist, right? Brandon Tatum is a statist. Roland Martin is a statist on the left. Brandon Tatum is a statist on the right. And they only know how to argue against each other, right? They only have talking points that will get them brownie point. You know what I mean? They can only beat each other up. They only know how to deal with each other. The left only knows how to argue against the right, and the right only knows how to argue against the left. But when you get somebody coming from a different angle that aren't statists, that don't subscribe to a lot of things they subscribe to, then they don't know how to respond to it. Right? They get short-circuited in the brain because you're not coming from a place of statism. So, yeah. Where in any of our laws does it say that it's illegal to make your own settlement? The Mormons did it on a large scale. Not only the Mormons, not only Mormons, who are those people? The shit. I forgot what they're called. The Amish. Yeah. I suppose he wants to look at people of no color as sex toys instead. Like in his situation, his no color having wife is proof. That's funny. Sex away the racism and breed it out is what he thinks. Yeah. Martin is a boule. So in when I get back on my live stream, because I'm gonna have to shut this down for now. When I get back on, I'm gonna play the actual interview between Roland Martin and King Randall. I'm not gonna play the whole thing, but I'm gonna play more than what Brandon Tatum played, and I'm gonna do some commentary on that. So right now I got to get out of here, get in this place and handle some business. So when I get back, I'll hit you guys up with another live stream. So I'll talk to you guys in a minute. Holla at y'all later. Peace.